guys, welcome to Advanced Selection Tools lesson. Precise selections are crucial for targeted editing and complex compositions. This lesson covers the pen tool for selection, the select and mask workspace, and techniques for making complex selections. Now, don't miss that session, techniques for making complex selection. This is going to really make you an advanced editor. So let's get started. Now, what is the pen tool? The pen tool is a vector-based tool used to create precise paths and selections with anchor points and Bezier curves. One of the advantages of pen tool is that it's ideal for creating smooth, accurate selections. Emphasis on accurate selections, especially for complex shapes. So now let me show you what the pen tool is. So you press P on your keyboard to select the pen tool, or you can as well click it on the toolbar here. Then you can click to add anchor points and click and drag to create curved lines. So when you click once, you are adding an anchor point, right? But you can as well click and drag, as I'm holding down the left click, I'm dragging to create a shape, the kind of curve I want. You can just play around with this. Then you can complete the part by connecting back to the starting point. So let's say I want to complete my part. I want to create something like this, and then like this. Yeah. So once I click back on this place, I've connected back the point. With that, you can now convert the parts to selections. So how do you do that? Just right click, right? And click on make selection. Click on make selection and press OK. If you want to adjust the feather, let me press Ctrl Z and show you. If you want to adjust the feather in make selection, you can adjust it here. If you want, it to feather in, that the selection to feather in and all that. But for me, I want to leave mine at 0. So I'm going to press OK. You can actually do some editing of the parts. So let me say before I make this selection, because I'm not focused on selection here, I'm focused on the pen tool, right? So I want to show you how you can adjust this. Let me say I don't like how this thing turned out. So how you can do that is by pressing A on your keyboard or come here and click direct selection tool. With the direct selection tool, you can actually click on the points and select them. Notice that as soon as I click this, all these other points became empty. All these other nodes, apart from this one, which means this is the one I'm editing at this point. So I can actually move it around when other ones will stay where they are. And then I can drag this around to change how they look like. You get that? So you can use the anchor point or delete anchor point tool within the pen tool. So you can actually, instead of using this tool, or together with this tool, you can press P also and then use other tools that are inside here. Now inside the pen tool, that is the free transform, that is the curvature pen tool, that is the add anchor point tool, and that is delete anchor point tool, and that is convert to points tool. So these tools are the ones you are going to use a lot, these three here. Okay, so while on the pen tool, once you hover over it, you're going to see delete anchor points. Notice that this icon will change to minus. So if I click on this now, it's going to delete that particular anchor point, right? And as soon as I did that, when an anchor on the line, it's going to show me plus, which means I want to add an anchor point. I can click and add anchor point here. Nothing changes as well, but I can now drag it around. You can actually hold Control, right? While on the pen tool, you can hold Control to temporarily switch to the direct selection tool here to be able to adjust these lines here, these nudges here. You can hold Control here and then click and drag this to look the way you want. I'm still holding down Control, right, until it becomes the way you want it to be, right? And then you can now start adding or removing anchor points as you want until you create the effect that you actually want. So one of the use cases of this is going to be in object isolation. For instance, you want to precisely select and isolate objects from a background, or what you might call cropping your images. And I'm going to show you an example shortly. Then there is also another use case that is you can use it in complex shapes. So you want to create a shape like we are doing now. You can use this to form a shape that you want. So for now, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to delete this whole thing by saying delete path. I'm going to right click and say delete path, delete everything. So I'm going to import. I'm going to place an image here to be able to show you how you can use this. So once again, I'm going to use the image of me, right, my avatar image, to show you how this works. So now I want to be able to select this guy, but I want to select it so accurately. So So what can I do? I'm going to just press Z, of course, to zoom in, right? I'm going to zoom in a bit, and then I'll go back to the pen tool and start selecting. So I click on this and then click somewhere else. See, I'm still clicking and holding down, right? So be able to adjust the curves the way I want. I'm going to come up here again, click here, adjust it the way I want, come up again, click it somewhere here, bring it down. I'm holding control to be able to use the direct selection tool to bring it down. I would have sped this up, but no, I want to show you how I did this at least up to a point. If I need to speed it up, I will. So you hold control down here to be able to drag these things around to make them look the way you want on this end, and then come up here, leaving control now, click and drag to get what you want. Come up here again, do the same until you get exactly what you want. Okay, if you want to create curves, you just by clicking and dragging. That is it. And this creates a more perfect selection for you. Now I'm okay with this, but I know I need to move it up a bit. I'm going to hold control to switch to the direct selection tool temporarily. Then I'm going to move it up here. This is better for me. Then I'm going to come up here and now start and continue my work. Yeah, now I'm done with this, but this is a sharp edge. Pay attention, this is a sharp edge. So if I click here now to continue, it's going to create a curve, and I don't want that. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z on that. What am I going to do? I'm going to want to remove this side, right? This side of the node. So I'm going to press Alt, and I'm going to show minus. Make sure you're holding Alt. If you press it this way, it's not going to work. So hold Alt and clip this like this. It's going to show this icon before you click, right? It will be showing let me press Ctrl Z. Hold Alt and come here to show this icon. Then you click it. It's not going to clip it for you, and then you can now add an edge. So it's more like converting from curve to edge. So by holding Alt, you convert from curve to edge. Then you come here and continue. Now we have created an edge there. I'm going to clip these two because these are also an edge. So I'm going to clip this by holding Alt and clicking it. Then I continue doing my work, creating curves all over the place. Now here is another edge. So this is a curve. So I'm going to hold Alt and click on this to remove the curve and add an edge. So hold Alt and this changes to this. Click it, then continue my work to be able to create an edge. And this is another edge here. Hold Alt. So you do this a lot in your work and all that. I'm going to just go ahead and keep on doing this. Hold Alt here because there is an edge, right? Then this. I want to move this down a bit. As you can see, I want to move this down a bit. So I'm going to hold Control to switch to the direct selection tool and then bring it down. Then because this is an edge, I'm going to also hold Alt and remove this other edge and start and continue my work. Right. Now this is an edge, right? But because it's an edge, but it's not so obvious that it's not a very sharp edge. So I still want to maintain a little curve there. So what I will do is I'm going to hold Control, and instead of removing this entirely, I'm going to hold Control and bring this down somewhere here. You be careful so you don't destroy your work by this. So just bring it down somewhere here, then continue the work. Now it has a little curve there. So you continue doing this until you are done. I'm doing this for people who are new to the pen tool. So if you are used to the pen tool, you can as well fast forward this tutorial to where you are where you are okay with. But if you are not, I will encourage you to keep watching this and see how I'm doing it, how the workflow is, where I have to click Alt and where I don't have to, right? So notice these are all curves. So I'm just dragging this out to create a convenient curve for my work. So I'm going to adjust this a little here. I'm holding down Control now, right? Then adjust these two, holding down Control, leave Control. Still holding down Control, move this a bit. Once you are done, you have to leave Control. Now the movement of this is I'm holding space bar to move this around, right? I'm holding space bar, be able to pan around my work and all of that. So once you hold space bar, it switches to a hand icon. You can pan around your image and all of that. then leave it, it switches back to pen tool, you continue your work. So that's how I'm doing that. Hold Control, move this down, hold the space bar and move around, then click down here. Okay, now this is an edge but not so sharp, so I'm going to hold Control and pull this up to here, and then to be able to create that nice curve but quite little. Then bring it, move down with space bar, and then do this. Now I want to get this area, so this is too far, so I'm going to press Ctrl Z and come up here, do this before coming down here. Yeah, so because this is an edge here, I have to hold Alt and remove it. Click here, hold Alt, then continue. Yeah, now this is a small curve. I'm going to just do this here, right, and then move it down. This is a curve, so I've removed this side. I mean, this is an edge, so I've removed this side. So here, remove this, remove this. Oh well, there's a small curve here. I'm going to leave it, but I'm just going to make it very small by moving this here, and then like that. Come here like so, move it down with Control, then adjust this to blend well. Okay, then I'm gonna come here. Okay, easy peasy. Right, so you can do this with any image that you want. I can tell you that the pen tool can be challenging at first, but don't be discouraged. Now if you make this mistake and hold Control and click somewhere else, that's you deselected this, just hold Control and click on where you want to continue and continue. So now I'm done with the selection. Now you agree with me that the pen tool can be a little bit daunting. I agree with that too, at first, but when you master it, it's going to help you a lot in your work to make precise selections. So now that you're done making your selections, you can actually right click on it, right, and then say make selection, right, and then press OK. It's going to help you. You've made this selection and it's very, very accurate. You can zoom in to observe how accurate our selections are, right? So the pen tool is so cool for making accurate selections and all of that. You can select this, you can remove the background from this, but in order to show you how to remove the background from an image with this, I'm going to advance to the next part, the second part of this, that is going to be select and mask workspace. So when you're done selecting your design, make sure you're on any selection tool of your choice, then click on select and mask up here, right? Select and mask, and a panel is going to pop up on the right side or anywhere in your design. You want to adjust the selection and the mask before you use your work. So the select and mask workspace is an advanced interface for refining selections with specified tools and options. Okay, so you can this is how to access it. I've shown you can access it all here and all of that. So the first thing you want to do is to adjust the view mode. If you like the way it is, it's fine. This is how you want to inspect or monitor your image. So you can switch it to be on black. You see how it's going to be on black, how it's going to be on black and white, right? Black and white kind of silhouette kind of thing, but on layer, right? On layer, you see it here on matching ants and all of those, onion skin. So choose the one that you want. Okay, but let me leave it at red for now. And then you have to start setting up all this stuff for you, right? So you can actually adjust the radius of your design. So if I zoom in, right, and adjust the radius of this, you see the impact it's going to make on these edges. So pay attention to the edges of this design. So I'm going to increase the radius. Now you can see the impact it's making. So you have to be attentive to see the changes you are making on your design. So it can make it better, but when used wrongly, it can actually distort your design. So you can actually adjust these parameters and these properties to see how the image do. So for example, let's see what feather does. If you increase this at 0.8 pixels, if I increase it, it starts feathering the image, right? If you want to create a feather for the image, this is how you do it. You can increase it or reduce it. So I think I'm okay with 0.8. It creates a realistic effect and not so sharp. If I want to increase that, I can just add a little more, but not too much that it begins to look weird. So the smooth, right, is how smooth selection is. Notice it also affects the edges too. So you don't increase that too much such that your image does not have an edge at all. So you can also increase the contrast, that is this place, right? The contrast of the selection. So increase this and see the impact it does. It kind of sharpens it a little bit, but it's just adding more contrast to it, right? So and then the shift edges, you might want to shift the edges inward or outward. So if you reduce it, you are shifting the edges inward, but if you increase it, you're shifting the edges outward. Now if you start increasing it, you start revealing some parts of the image. Notice you are beginning to see some parts of the original image, the place that we selected, we cropped this from. So you don't want to increase that much. So just leave this at normal. If you reduce this too much, to start eating into the image itself. So most times you're going to want to leave it at 0, except okay, maybe I didn't select everything accurately. Like here, I gave some distance. I have to bring this in a little bit. That is cool. You can also, as you do this, pan over your image to observe other areas of your image to be sure you're not destroying any part of it at all, right? So when you are done doing this, okay, before we get to outputting it, I'm going to show you how to work with this. So the first one, I'm going to show you the tools, because this mode has its own tools. The first tool is a refine edge brush. You can use it to paint over the edges to refine the selection. Okay, this is especially useful when you want to work with hairs and all that. This is not this one, the refine edge brush. If you click, if there were hairs in this image, you can actually click on the edges and you begin to refine it automatically. So this is not applicable here, so I'm just going to press undo, right? So if there were hairs, if you have images of hair, after you're done selecting as accurately as you can use the refine edge to pick out the hairs themselves and select them properly, right? There is also the brush tool. This is where you can manually add or subtract areas from the selection. So look at this brush area now. So let me say there is an area I didn't select. Let me say this small area, I want to, select it, right? You can now do this and reveal some other parts of the selection. I'm going to press undo to remove that. There is now global refinement. I've shown you, that's what I've shown you right here. Now you are done and you are okay with your refinement. So you have to set the output right. So the first thing you want to do is to make sure the output, you are outputting to the kind of layer you want. So you can output the selection and nothing happens to your image. You didn't crop anything out. You just outputting the selection itself. Or you can output a layer mask, or you can output new layer, or you can output new layer with layer mask. So if you do new layer, you're just going to crop this part of the image, this part of the image you are seeing, and put it on a new layer without a layer mask. But with that makes it, you can't go back on it anymore. You can't edit it anymore, or like we work with layer mask. Now, if you are confused about layer masks, you can look at my previous tutorial, or I'll put it somewhere around this video so that you can be able to check it out and understand everything about layer masks. Then you can actually do layer mask, new layer with layer mask. This is my preferred option. So you can even put your new documents and new document with layer mask. This is beautiful. So let's just keep it at new layer with layer mask. And when you're done, just press, you can say remember settings, so that these settings will be here when you get back. And then press OK. Now Photoshop will do its magic, and then you have your new layer with layer mask, right? And then the old layer is still there, still here, right? You can turn it on or off. So it is totally non-destructive. Didn't destroy this one, neither did it destroy this other one too. Just apply the layer mask on it and all of those. So this is so beautiful to use. If you can master this, you will take your editing game up the ladder, right? You're taking it up a notch, right? So next, I'm going to talk about complex selections. And this is very important that you pay attention. There are many ways, many techniques for making complex selection. Number one is going to be combining selection tools, right? So for instance, I want to select a particular image, but one tool is not finishing the job. So you can actually combine the lasso tool, the polygonal lasso tool, the magnetic lasso tool, the pen tool, the quick selection tool to get, and even the magic wand tool to get the job done, right? Even the object selection tool. So you can combine any of these tools to make your stuff work out, to make your selections accurate. And the second one is an advanced technique that is where you use channels. You're using channels for selections. So I'm not going to dwell on that. You just come back to, let me say I want to select this. I'm still working on this old image. Then I come to channels, right? What you can do is that you go to the channel panel. That's what I've just done. If you're not seeing it on your own, you can come to window and then click on channels and then move it down to this place if it's somewhere else on the screen, right? So go to the channels panel and then duplicate a channel with high contrast. So let's say I want to work on blue. I'm going to right click and say duplicate channel, right? And then I'm going to do it. It's going to be blue copy. Then you're going to use level and curve to enhance the contrast and all of those. Then you can now load the channel as a selection. Let me show you. You can come over here to layer, to image and adjustments, and then brightness. Let me use levels. So I'm going to increase this, right, to increase the contrast. Okay. All right, this is cool. And then I'm going to press OK. And then when I'm okay with what I want, I'm going to load it as a selection. So press Control and click on the layer. Notice it's selecting certain parts of that particular layer. So you can use this very well when you know exactly what you want. There are many people that use this in selecting hair, right? You can select hair and all of those. Maybe a woman's hair flying all around the place. Maybe it's a black hair and all of that. You can use your contrast, pick the contrast that you want to select and select it. And that is it. So you can come back here and apply the selection, use it for whatever you want to use it for. So you need to practice this again and again to be able to use it properly, right? So at this point of this tutorial, if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, I would like you to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and also click on the bell icon to be notified when next I post my videos. Now let's continue. The next technique that I use to make my work good is what I've already shown you, the select and mask refinement. You can utilize the select and mask tool for intricate selections such as hair and transparent objects. Then the final one is the create vector part, okay, with pen tool, right? You can use the vector selection and create vector parts and all of those. So these are very cool stuff you can do. I've shown you all of these. If you can be able to implement these things in your design, you can use them for composite image editing. So for example, you can blend multiple images by making precise selections. So for example, you want to use this image you've selected here. This image you selected here, I'm going to reduce, sorry, I have to delete this channel. Yeah. So this image you selected here, we want to use it for a design. So you can now reduce this and put it in a design. You're blending images together to do whatever you want to do, be it a flyer design or whatever. You can actually do advanced retouching with this. So you can isolate specific areas for targeted edits without affecting the rest of the image. So maybe there is something you want to do to this particular place. For instance, I can actually decide that this blue color I'm seeing here, I don't want to see it anymore. So I can actually select this part of the image and remove the blue color from here. So that is possible. It's called advanced retouching with selection tools. So in this lesson, we've explored advanced selection tools, including the pen tool for precise and path-based selection, the powerful select and mask workspace for refining selections, and techniques for making complex selections. Mastering these tools will significantly enhance your ability to create detailed and accurate selections on Photoshop. So this has been a cool tutorial, and if you've gotten any value from this, as I know you have, hit the subscribe button. Of course, first of all, click the like button and hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icon to be notified when I post my next video. If you want to learn more about Photoshop, or you just stumbled on this tutorial and you want to watch the rest of it, I'm going to add the full course at the end of this. It should be showing on your screen somewhere right now, and you can click on it and watch the full course from basic. We're at intermediate level now. You can start from basic and learn everything you need to know about Photoshop step by step. Thank you for joining this tutorial today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.